YouTube, what's up? I'm back with 5 more things I've been up to lately. And these things happened all pretty rapid fire succession after my last video, and I've been trying to film this for a number of days, but let's just say that life got in the way. And I've already got more stuff on the go, so it's probably going to be another quick turnaround. Oh my god, I just ate so much. I'm so tired. I'm just like a mess right now. So this is going to be a really great video. So anyways, let's get right into it. First up, a book, Star Wars, Most Wanted. This is a prequel story to the Solo, a Star Wars adventure movie. I think that's what it was called. The one that starred Han Solo as before he became Han Solo. So this takes place, like I said, before the movie, and Han and Kira aren't tight yet. They're not lovers. They're not friends. They're both working for the White Worms, the underground street gang on Corellia, led by that freak of nature worm thing. I forget her name, Lady Proxima. That's what it is. And so her, Han, Kira, a Rhodian named Sulo, and then a nasty guy with the hounds. I forget his name. Rebolt are the 4 oldest White Worms, and they're all wanting to become the next head of the street urchins that Lady Proxima is kind of in charge of, because the last one has gone missing. So they're all gunning for that position. Lady Proxima asks for Han and Kira in separate meetings, and sends them on 2 different errands that are actually in the end related to each other. So Kira goes to this swanky hotel and makes a bid on a mystery item that's up for auction, and she's going up against the Caldana Syndicate, which is a bunch of gangsters kind of, and then the droid Gotra, which is some sort of droid rights movement. So she way underbids. Lady Proxima doesn't have enough money to even be in the contest, and in the end, things erupt in gunfire, and Kira escapes with the cube, sort of thing. Or sorry, no, she doesn't escape with the cube. She escapes with her life, basically, and goes on the run. Han, on the other hand, is deep in the bowels of Corellia at the foundry, and he's waiting on he doesn't know, but he's waiting on the results of Kira's bid, and he's with members of the Caldana Syndicate and the droid Gotra, where the actual goods are, this data cube that they're bidding on. So when the news of the bid, who won the bid, comes down, gunfire erupts there as well, and Han actually makes off with the data cube. This droid that he's tight with, that's overseeing things, gives him the data cube, and Han makes off with it. So him and Kira actually meet up as they're both trying to get back to the White Worm headquarters, and realize that Lady Proxima's got it in for them, with kind of what she's kind of set them up and duped them and sort of thing, and they're not going to have any kind of safety when they go back to her. So they go on the lam, and they get their friend Sulo involved, the Rhodian, and the 3 of them then go on this grand adventure to try and see what's on this data cube, see if they can get it off their hands and maybe secure a brighter future for themselves with it. And in the end, they just use it to basically save their bacon and get back with Lady Proxima in a stronger position. But this is, over this adventure, Han and Kira become tight, and this is where their relationship begins. And it's also where the seed begins for them to eventually get off Corellia, or try to get off Corellia. So, and one momentous event in this story is that this is the story that sees Han go into space for the very first time, which is kind of iconic since he's the ultimate pilot, right? So next up, finally watched Dune, the movie. I'm not going to go through the story because it's very complicated and whatever. If you want to know what I thought of the story, 3 videos ago I reviewed the book, which goes through the whole story, so you can do that. But the movie I wanted to see after I finished reading the book, to help shed a bit more light on what the story actually was about, to fill in any blanks that I was confused on. And the movie was amazing. It's this big, grand, epic thing, and it's so loud at times with the tech and everything, and then at other times with the severity of the story and what takes place. It's so quiet, and it's just these contrasts and stuff, and it's got a really good cast too. There's a lot of the unknowns to me. I thought were really good in it, but there's 5 really big names: Zendaya, Jason Momoa, uh, Dave Bautista, who plays Drax in the Guardians of the Galaxy, Josh Brolin, and Oscar Isaac from Star Wars. So lots of big actors in it, plus a bunch of unknowns that all do a really good job. And I really enjoyed it. And this is actually only part 1 of the Dune story. They basically divided the book up into 2, so it's going to be part 1, and then part 2 is eventually going to be coming to finish everything off. So can't wait to see that. Next up, I don't have a picture of this because it was a download on my Switch. Me and James finished playing the game recently called Red Wings. And no, this is not a game about a hockey team. It's a game about the Red Baron. It is an air combat game, which sees you choose either the Triple Entente, which I never knew these terms. The Triple Entente was an agreement between Russia, France, and the UK before World War I and up to World War I think is how it went. So you can play as that faction, and you're trying to shoot down the Red Baron, or you can play as the Triple Alliance, which is the Germans, the Austrians and Hungarians, and the Italians. So if you play as them, you play kind of as the Red Baron's forces, and try to take down the Triple Entente. So you're in these old school planes from World War I era, and most missions you're trying to shoot down either a certain number of the enemy's planes or balloons or zeppelins or whatever, and the odd mission here and there you're trying to fly through these rings like a kind of aerial kind of performance sort of thing, and whatnot. But I think there's 22, 23, 24 levels per side, so close to 50 levels overall all in the game, so it's pretty good length. And it's a lot of fun. It's well done. The graphics are good. The gameplay's good. It's nothing fancy. It's pretty simple, but in terms of a really cheap and fun air combat game, you can't go wrong with it, I felt. And it was kind of cool because between each, you can play together in the story mode. So between each level and stuff, it's almost like a comic book display, but it explains the events of the war sort of roughly from each side. So there's a bit of history involved as well. I never knew the Red Baron's name was Manfred von Richtenstein or something like that. That's close enough anyway. So yeah, so learned a bit about I'd always knew about the Red Baron, but I had no idea what he was all about. So this game was actually also a little educational. Isn't that fun? Next up, on the PS4, we finished NHL 19. I don't really know what's new in this game because most of it has to do with different online features and online modes, and I just don't give a shit about that kind of stuff. So for us, we just played a season, as we always do. And unfortunately, we completed the second round of the playoffs, and then the game simmed all the way through the Stanley Cup. We won, but we didn't get to play any of the games. And that's happened to me on 1 or 2 games on the PS3 as well. I don't know what happens, but it just malfunctions and glitches and sims ahead for you, which kind of sucked. But anyways, we had a lot of fun on this game, and it was good. Everything was pretty good. The game speed, the gameplay, the hitting, everything in this game was pretty solid. Not my favorite game of the most recent NHLs. I find, and I heard this from somebody, that they tend to do things in threes. So for this, NHL 17, 18, 19 kind of had the same engine and the same general style of gameplay and stuff, and it was minor tweaks. And then for the next 3 games, they make bigger changes and keep the minor changes within the realm of that big change for the next 3 games sort of thing. So, which I really noticed when you play 17, 18, 19 versus NHL 20. Which was my favorite game of the most recent ones. I love NHL 20. That was very different from 17, 18, 19. So it looks like that there is some sort of truth to that. But anyways, NHL 19, another solid entry in the NHL hockey series. You can't go wrong with it. There wasn't anything glaring at me that I didn't like about it, other than our goalie. We had we had Freddie Anderson in the net, and he was highly rated. He was 80 something, high 80s, I think, and he just sucked. Like, every shot seemed to go in, and it's like it's hard to play a game when you just can't trust your goalie, right? So that was the only real irritating thing I found about the game, but otherwise everything else was spot on. So last up, Ratchet and Clank on the PS4. So this game was released in 2016, and it was basically kind of a redo / reboot of the OG Ratchet and Clank game from PS2, which was back from 2002, I think. And this was also released to coincide with the Ratchet and Clank movie that was released in 2016, the animated movie, which we went to the theater and saw, which I thought was so strange. Like, how did Ratchet and Clank get a movie and other games haven't, right? But not that I was complaining, but it was just kind of weird, right? So it's a reimagining of the first game. A lot of it is very similar to the first game. There's some differences here and there, but it's basically very, very similar. So in this game, it opens up with this criminal in jail, Sly or something like that. I can't remember his name. He gets a new roommate in jail. It's Captain Quark, and this guy was a big fan of Captain Quark. So Captain Quark tells him his story about why he got in jail and how he shouldn't have been in jail. And, well, not really, he should have been, but so the story shifts to back and forth between the events of the game that you're playing and Captain Quark telling this criminal his version of the events, right? So, and of course the story is on the planet Veldin. This young Lombax named Ratchet, who's a mechanic, is slogging away through life, but he wants to join the Galactic Rangers, but they and although he applies and he does well in all the tests and stuff, they don't take him on. So he's like and then Chairman Drek, the evil Blarg who wants to take over the universe, working with Dr. Nefarious, is building a robot army, basically. And then one of these robots that come off the assembly line is a dud. He's just a little tiny guy. He learns of Drek's plan to take over the universe and destroy planets and whatnot. So then he blasts off from this facility and crash lands on Veldin, where he meets Ratchet, and he informs Ratchet of what's going on. And Ratchet's like, let's go get those Galactic Rangers. It's his way in to maybe some adventure, right? So, and then the game unfolds from there, as Ratchet and Clank form this formidable team and go from planet to planet, help the Rangers, whether they want it or not, in taking down Chairman Drek. So, the game itself, like in terms of the weapons and stuff like that, the weapons are very similar to what they were in the first game. The upgrading system is a little different, and there's some added stuff, like you can collect cards in this game that help boost how many bolts you earn, how effective your weapons are, how much rare Retanium you earn. So there's all these modifiers with this card collection that you can get, which was a nice added little feature sort of thing. So, but and of course the game just looks so much slicker than the 2002, the original Ratchet and Clank, right, which was on the PS2. This thing's like high def and smooth as hell and everything. So, not that there's anything wrong with the OG Ratchet and Clank game. That's an amazing game. But of course, 20 years later, you've got better graphics and better all smooth and smooth. So yeah, those are the 5 things. We had 3 games in there, 1 book and 1 movie. And I'm already building towards the next video, so we will see you next time. Peace.